Christian Bryant and Dean
Chris Wynn. Let's do it again, folks.
Back in Washington today. He met with Republican members of the House this morning.
Let's play some video games. We're playing Agatha Christie. This one's called ABC Murders. And I promised that for the beginning of the week, well, last week actually, because it's been a while since I've been on my internet when I was doing some renovation work on the siding on the building which I did. I live in an apartment. And they knocked out my fiber optic cable. So it took them like about 4 or 5 days for them to fix it. But we're back. And the unboxing. I finally got my order in. And I unboxed it or unwrapped it actually. And you can check out the link underneath.
To determine who the next president is.
Underneath the video here. There's a little link there. And I click on it, and you'll see the video of it of the unboxing it. But that's it. The Trump stock is it's down. It's below 40 now. Below $40. It went as high as like $56, I think it was, like about a month ago, almost a month ago. And since then it's been trailing back down. But when it opened up, I think it was like $72. And steadily went down until it reached like $22. And then I think David Nunes shot his cow and started doing meth, and so the stock started going up again. And it got as high as like the 50s. And then it started going down again. But then when Trump got convicted of the 34 felony charges, it's been going down a little bit faster lately. So right now, today, almost Thursday, so we're close at I think it's 39.93.
We know there was also a major Senate vote on
the old grifter is on his way out. Come on, Johnny.
Was there any
Mr. Shits and Pants? Bob Shits and Pants, brother. Trumpism is a dying cult. And I don't even doubt he'd still be around, by November. And maybe, the Republicans will get wise and nominate somebody instead of an idiot. But, you never know.
To support any
let's see. He's all right. His health, I hope he's in good health, and lives for a very long time. I wish him all the best as far as his health goes. I want him to rot in prison on the floor. But enough of that. Let's go on to the game and the game screen. And here we go. Agatha Christie again. The ABC murder.
Ahead of the 2024 election, a lot of vulnerable Democrats were up for re-election. Everyone from John Tester in Montana, Sherrod Brown, Ohio, Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, just to name a few. And so this is Schumer trying to put members in the record in advance of the 2024 election, give them something to go home and campaign on, and reasons for expanding the Democratic majority, or at least holding their majority right now. So again, a lot of this is politics, and instead of really, we're pretty much saying, we wanted members to get on our side today.
40%.
Our congressional correspondent Nathaniel Reed in the nation.
It's been so long, I forgot where I was at.
Thank you. President Trump's goals today were more expansive and potentially more significant than addressing future
Received the first letter. Hastings thinks that it is a joke. As for me, filled with foreboding, I prefer to inform Chief Inspector Japp.
They have to overturn the conviction.
Mrs. Usher is not suspicious of the murderer, whom she takes to be an ordinary customer. The old lady turns around to take a packet of cigarettes. She is beaten to death. We investigate the first murder with Hastings. No suspect has a motive. A few weeks later, we receive a second letter signed ABC. Chief Inspector Japp is informed. The victim's name should start with the letter B. Betty Barnard leaves her work. She's dressed to go out.
election on
The
New
young
York,
woman is
or
strangled on the
they're
beach.
trying to change laws now to now make it legal
In
to do what
Bexhill,
Trump did,
Donald Fraser
January
appears to be
6th,
the
around that
perfect
time.
suspect
It
for
wouldn't
Betty's
affect Trump.
murder,
So all this
but he
is
has no
watching the
connection
law.
with
Plus the
Mrs.
fact
Asher.
that he cannot get anything through the Senate, let alone probably not the House either.
And that is it.
Majority. So a lot of this is
Until
seeing who's on
he's not allowed to see it.
is with that. Exactly. House Speaker Mike Johnson, we know from the get-go, he condemned the guilty verdicts.
Up to
He
see.
obviously has his people attended repeatedly, right? I mean, say without
Let's
laughing,
play.
you know. So if he does not have the power to do that, which he doesn't.
Okay, so what are we doing here?
Does it? The appellate courts do. The appellate courts, and there's going to be an appeal. But a politician, a legislator, jury verdict. That's not how any of this stuff works. The fact that Mike Johnson even entertained this,
Suspect Donald Frisk.
shows you that the Republican Party is a party of one. You know, Mike Johnson owes his job to Donald Trump. Mike Johnson was told he was
Call Scotland Yard.
removed
That's what
by
I gotta
Marjorie
do.
Taylor Greene and had co-workers in the House.
It's a letter? Yeah, it's a letter for the
Poor Mr. Poirot. Not so good at these little criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you? Rather past your prime, perhaps? Let us see if you can do any better this time. This time it is an easy one. Just on the 30s. Do try and do something about it. It is a bit dull having it all my own way, you know. Good hunting. Ever yours, ABC.
Easy as 1, 2, 3. So let's see here. What's
ruling from the Supreme Court as it relates to presidential immunity from, you know, which could decide if Trump is immunity from federal election fraud charges. What's your prediction here?
It's about
Delayed the DC election interference trial.
That will,
Already being held. I do not think they're going to give him
Excellency, Sussex, population 24,703.
To the district court judge, Judge Hutkin, for some fact-finding, and that would effectively delay the trial until after the election. So then Trump would win by losing. He'd lose the underlying matter before the Supreme Court, but if he gets the delay, he wins. But even if there is that trial, that fact-finding
Hastings' photo album. He's very proud of his bag.
January 6th and Trump's role.
Bags, not a
Dave
bag.
Ehrenberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. Dave, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for having me.
What else do we look at? Oh, yeah? Huh?
Now, some stories you may have missed today. A U.S. submarine is now in Guantanamo Bay as a show of force after a fleet of Russian warships arrived in Cuba. The USS Helena is a nuclear-powered attack sub. Russian ships arrived for planned military exercises in the Caribbean. The Pentagon says the ships are not a threat, and the Helena is in the area.
Daily Flicker, July 30, 1935. ABC affair, no progress. The alphabet murderer is still on the run. Ever since the police found the connection between the Bexhill and Andover affairs, the inquiry has barely progressed. In this issue, we are publishing provocative letters sent by the killer to Hercule Poirot. Unfortunately, they have not yet helped to find him. Daily Flicker, July the 26th, 1935. The Bexhill Horror. Young maid strangled on the beach. Killer struck at midnight.
Undisclosed private jet trips.
That revelation comes from Crow's lawyer amid a Senate Judiciary Committee investigation. Crow's lawyer told the committee the flights took Thomas to Montana, California, and Thomas's hometown in Georgia. The committee launched its investigation in response to ProPublica's reporting last year that revealed several undisclosed gifts Crow had given Thomas, including private school tuition for a relative and luxurious vacations.
Look at the wall.
I lock my revolver in this drawer. I've not used it in a very long time. I lock.
To a story we've been following for you. In another secret report, Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito claims investigative reporting about the court is based on ideological disagreements over court decisions.
Speaking with a documentary filmmaker and liberal activist, Norm Windsor, who was posing as a conservative activist, Alito took particular aim at the nonprofit
Miss Hastings tore the envelope.
Lavish gifts and trips Alito and Justice Thomas accepted.
If something is wrong, the killer wrote the white horse mentioned. Is it a mistake?
There are groups that are very
Look at the back. That Hastings tore the envelope that held the killer's letter. However, he did not have
donors said no
foot on the ground.
reporting that it, quote, exposes abuses of power no matter which party is in charge. Republican Pulitzer Prize for Public Service reporting last month for a story about the Supreme Court. Republican is a Scripps News partner.
Try
Loser joins the race
White
for our next
Haven
hour to
Convention.
talk about the reportings and why she says it was necessary. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on Scripps News.
Still to come on the National Report, Boeing was back in the spotlight on Capitol Hill today.
The response from the FAA.
See the back of this one? Why can't you see the back of the other one?
Keep it here. You're watching the National Report on Scripps News.
Call Scotland Yard.
Exact same nationwide coverage as the leading carriers.
Ah, see, he picked him up. Okay.
But don't worry, we've got a lot more than
Now, what's that? What is that?
Like this beautiful store in Arizona, for example.
What is that?
It's a perfect place for me to tell you a little bit more about our phones and how they can become your phones. You get it? We probably got it. We have the top smartphones from all the major companies. If it's state-of-the-art cameras you want for space-age metal housing, we got it. If you have smartphones, lots of bells and whistles, but won't break the bank.
It is not a good time.
Even have flip phones like the Irish one.
It is not a good time.
What's a good chat?
You'll have to know that if your data needs change,
That's the phone, I guess. Man, turn on the fan. There you go. A little smuggy.
Ah, some cool hair.
Yeah. That's smuggy.
Right back down with no penalty, so you won't be paid for what you actually.
Hey, I can't think of what the word.
Cellular, you get the exact same nationwide coverage as the leading carriers for
That's
under half the cost.
I know what you're thinking. What if I don't have one of these amazing stores in my town yet?
Yeah.
Can I get these phones sent to me?
Yes, you can.
Well, I'll work with customer service, help me switch over. Or I want $15 to make my own family plan.
Of course they will.
Is it easy?
Easy as pie.
See that tower out there? It's a beauty. And there's thousands
All right.
of like
Call.
for me and you.
Call Scotland Yard.
Coverage to this beautiful nation.
Hello, chap. We received a new letter from ABC in the 10 o'clock post.
Where and when?
Interesting. Today.
Today? I'll inform the population immediately.
I'll check the train times. Call me back.
By July 31st, call
I'll inform the population immediately. All 24,000 of them?
It is not a good time.
It's not a good time.
It is not a good time.
When is a good time?
Million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022.
Compare the new letter with the other letters from ABC.
Today's identity thieves can open loans.
Oh.
Compare the new letters.
Commit crimes in your name. So I'm my social security
Right.
number. Who made a driver's license and was used for criminal activity. Your information is exposed to online shopping. Even corporate data breaches.
Poor Mr. Poirot. Not so good at these little criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you? Other past...
So how do I compare the letters?
It is not a good time.
Not a good time.
All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 million protection package, including reimbursement for stolen funds.
I will do LifeLock forever.
It only takes just minutes to call them. Go online and use promo
Yeah.
code
Compare
K25
them.
25% on your first year and all now.
Go do this, no?
Senators questioned federal aviation officials in Capitol Hill today. The Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation held a hearing on FAA oversight of
These are
Boeing's
all
manufacturing.
suspects.
Lawmakers specifically drilled down on the agency's oversight of Boeing's manufacturing.
National correspondent Vanessa Machado can follow you here. She joins us live now from Puget Sound, Washington. Vanessa, what did you learn today?
How do you compare?
Yeah, Chris.
Compare the new letter with the other letters.
Testified before senators
This is the new one.
that the FAA in the past, when it comes to Boeing and safety, have been too reactive and not proactive enough. And it says that if the company wants to boost its production of its most popular planes, then it has to make fundamental changes to the way
That's how you compare?
FAA's approach was too hands-on,
No.
too focused on paperwork audits, and not focused
That's
enough
just the
on
envelope.
inspections.
The Federal Aviation Administration admitted to a Senate committee Thursday the FAA lacked oversight of Boeing's plane production ahead of the terrifying
Oh, they were
roll-up
over.
in
No,
January.
that's the
Since
first.
then, FAA Administrator Mike Whitmer said his agency has stepped up its oversight of Boeing and Spirit AeroSystems production lines, including putting inspectors on factory floors.
Those changes are permanent.
Said the agency is monitoring every step of Boeing's complex safety overhaul plan it submitted in May, which includes adding more supplier safety checks, enhancing employee safety training, and verifying complex manufacturing instructions. The Norfolk incident thrust Boeing's safety culture back into the spotlight after it struggled to regain trust following two deadly 737 MAX plane crashes in 2018 and 2019.
What's his name?
Americans feel safe. There are circumstances they fly across the country and the globe. And I guess they can.
Yeah.
Hastings, what you are doing is an absolute disaster. That is no way to pack suitcases.
Heavens, we must hurry. We have to get to Chester before the murder.
Shifting from a reactive approach to a more aggressive approach that focuses on data to find those risks.
Hastings, order and method are always necessary, regardless of the circumstances.
Okay. I'll let you pack them.
All the same, it really is a disgrace to leave your belongings in such a mess.
A new production issue with the 787 Dreamliner had been discovered. So Boeing tells me that some of the fasteners in some undelivered 787 Dreamliners, which are made in South Carolina, inside the body of the fuselage, were not
Protected
meaning
bottles.
that they had been taken property. So Boeing is looking into and reviewing those. They said that this is an issue that will impact delivery.
That'd be close.
787, but again, just another issue in production and quality from the
Voila.
company that we've
It
heard
only took a
over the
minute.
last few months. And Administrator Whitaker, who
Poirot, you were right.
at Capitol Hill, he will be actually visiting that South Carolina plant tomorrow.
I've just consulted the ABC guide. There's no hurry. The next train doesn't leave till 11:45.
You see, there is no need to hurry. We will not be in Charleston until tomorrow morning, after the murder.
But why has the murderer warned us so late? It's not what he usually does. Did he do it on purpose?
Very good question, Hastings. We should also compare the letter we have just received with the other two, although I have very little doubt about what we will find.
Yeah, me
Global
too.
Affairs correspondent Maya Rodriguez joins us now. Maya, good to have you in the studio. What specifically are they trying to do specifically here?
Well, Christian, these are countries that have invested a lot of time and money and weaponry into Ukraine's fight against Russia's invasion, but now they have a plan to have Russia itself have a new security agreement in place with Ukraine. So basically, the G7 agreed to give Ukraine
Right, let us compare this new letter with the second one.
of nearly $300 billion in frozen Russian assets.
Let us examine this more closely.
Countries. That money would then be used by Ukraine to pay for its military effort. Now, at the G7, President Biden met with Ukrainian President Zelensky one-on-one, and they signed that two-year security agreement between the U.S. and Ukraine. Now, the agreement does not involve any U.S. troops on the
Certain
ground
characters in the two letters may have similar
and
defects.
if there's a new administration in the White House next year, it could be dissolved. And this is just one of the agreements.
Yes, this eye is weird.
Until Saturday in southern Italy. Take a listen to what President Biden had to say.
Let us examine the characters in this word.
Our goal is to strengthen Ukraine's credible defense and deterrence capabilities for the long term.
Yes, this eye is weird.
Must be underwritten by
However, the characters in the two words do not match.
future aggression anytime in the future. The United States will help ensure
The W is not printed properly.
The G7 meeting wraps up this weekend, ending just as another major diplomatic meeting.
Of course, the W characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
From 90 other countries around the world.
Speaking of Ukraine and Russia, we got an update on Evan Gershkovich. The Wall Street Journal report has been detained in Russia.
Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual.
This is a story that you've been on. What more do we know
That's
about
right.
his case
The A
now?
characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
We did not know that. At this point, they've sort of been in these pre-detention hearings. They have not set a date for that trial. And we've been talking about this all year.
Yes, this eye is weird.
They say he will be going on trial.
Yes, this eye is weird.
The charges that he denies, his employer, the Wall Street Journal, denies.
Yes,
as well as
the I characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects.
Remains to be seen.
My theory was right. These two letters were written with the same typewriter.
Russia has said the U.S. is taking energetic steps.
Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Finalized indictment, if you will, global affairs correspondent.
Why does the murderer want us so late?
Next on the national report, 2 days after being banned from the nation's hot dog eating contest, Jay Chestnut already has his next competition lined up.
That's the reason.
Yeah, he does.
Let us
Right in
see.
here, we can see John
What's
face
that?
up
At the
against
right
one of his
date.
longtime rivals. They weren't disputing.
Let us see what's said at the right date. I don't get it.
Next on Scripps News.
White House, White Bush was
Politics on the race. It's the debrief.
T7 the Rob Hendricks.
Montana. Giorgio.
ABC Guide. So why does the murderer want us so late?
For a story you like this week. We want to hear from you. Scripps News viewer hotline.
This.
8334 Scripps. That's 8334 Scripps.
Huh?
You're still running with these cartridge.
Okay,
No more spinning people, so turning these things to cartridges.
value.
It comes with up to 2 years of being
Go with error address.
Switch to me could take and save up to $80.
The letter should have arrived in time. The postmark shows that it was sent 3 days ago. However, our man made a mistake in the address, which explains the delay. All the same, the post office took their time correcting the error.
Come on, Poirot. Your address is not quite as well known as that of Scotland Yard.
Instead of hitting him, I got a good settlement for
Poirot, the telephone. It must be Jack.
Dad helped me to go out and acquire gold and silver. When I got the settlement, I just stuck it in the bank, and that's when I got
That's what it's all about.
from U.S. Mines. And that's when I decided I could make
I have some news from Churchton. Bad news, I'm afraid. Sir Carmichael Clark was murdered while out on his evening walk.
Sir Carmichael Clark. The name is familiar to me.
He was a famous throat specialist, one of the best in London. A wealthy man, he retired to Combside, a beautiful house by the sea. He collected antiques.
Are you going there?
Yes, let's meet on the train.
It's nice holding it in your hand, but I'll tell you.
2 women and a man.
If you've bought gold in the past, or would like to learn more about why physical gold should be an important part of your portfolio, pick up the phone and call and receive a complete guide to buying gold, which will provide you with important, never-seen-before facts you should know about making gold, silver, and platinum purchases.
The
victim is called Sir Carmichael Clark, one of the best throat specialists in London. The body was still warm when we found it. If we'd been warned earlier, we definitely could have saved him.
It appears that the murderer made a mistake when he wrote his letter.
A mistake? Lucky for him.
And what if he did it on purpose?
No. He's defined his madcap rules and he's sticking to them. It's a matter of pride for him. Shall we go up to the house, Poirot?
You go, my friends. I will come soon.
Congratulations, trophy.
Here we go. Joey Chestnut will compete in a hot dog contest. After all, that's not the name famous hot dog eating contest. Chestnut was banned from competing in this event because of his new partnership with Impossible Foods. So he's taking his talents to Netflix for a competition against his rival Takeru Kobayashi. The live Netflix special is titled Chestnut versus Kobayashi Unfinished Beef. Very big since the two have not faced off since tonight. Kobayashi said he's putting on for to face Chestnut one last time. Christian, the special airs on
I feel like you gotta go with Jaws here, right? He's won this thing like 16, 18 times, something like it.
Yeah, you gotta start that, all right.
One of the reasons why you tune in for this too. Yeah. I would love to see it go down to the wire. I mean, as gross as it is, I'd love to see them really kind of, do it up.
Yeah, hopefully it's close and not, not boring. Because how do you allow right?
Apart from the wound to the throat, the body is untouched. No cuts, no bruises.
They have scheduled 8 performances there in September.
Apart from the wound to the throat, the body is untouched. No cuts, no bruises.
Next Friday, hotel and ticket bundles will be offered as well as several VIP packages. You can go to eagles.com to check out the concert dates and travel and VIP packages.
We love Hotel California.
Well, the top one. To enjoy travel.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight on Chris Witt.
An ABC guide, the murderer's customary signature, covered in blood this time.
Just over 2 minutes.
So, let's see, blow to the head, strangulation, and knife to the throat.
Sir Carmichael's throat was cut. It's a clean incision, a professional murder.
Clean incision, scalpel?
If you're 1585, I have an important message about security. Write down the number on your screen so you can call when I finish. The line I want to talk to you about.
The gravel on the path has been sprayed with blood that covers a conical-shaped area, which starts at the body and becomes wider as it moves further from the bush. The gravel on the path has been sprayed with blood that covers a conical-shaped area, which starts at the body and becomes wider as it moves further from the bush.
He was standing up, had his throat cut, he was fell backwards.
And it's simple to get. Coverage options start at $9.95 a month. Less than 35 cents a day.
Okay.
Act now. We bring you locked in for life. It will never increase. Guaranteed. This is lifelong coverage that can never be
Jack has emptied the victim's pockets and has laid out their contents on this piece of wax cloth.
With no health questions. You can start wax down because of your health. Call for your information kit and read about this rate lock for yourself.
A signet ring, very probably with the Clark family's coat of arms.
Call for information, then decide. Read about the 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. Don't wait. Call this number now.
Nothing appears to be missing.
This free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record important information and your final wishes. And it's yours free just for calling. So
Nothing appears to be missing from this wallet.
440-9900 for your free information. That's 1-800-440-9900. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-440-9900.
An Oriental dragon. It's an old piece, much older.
Not only that, it's
the same way with mom. I'll give you more sets to be able to say, okay, let's do this now.
An Oriental dragon. It's an old piece, much older than a pocket watch on which it was fastened.
Coming up on the race, the Dawn returns to D.C. Great meeting.
It is pointless.
This one for the first time since January 6th, planning ahead for possible term number 2. President Biden overseeing a major decision back home. The Supreme Court ruling an abortion bill can remain on the market.
This place is very calming.
Certain things are still not going to change.
and all eyes on Samuel Alito, whether he likes it or not. More negative headlines out today after more secret audio of the Supreme Court justice is released. This hour, we'll talk with the liberal journalist who recorded anything. Starts now on the Race.
The site is exceptional. It is easy to imagine that Sir Carmichael used to enjoy stopping here every evening.
Welcome to the Race Thursday night. I'm Chase Field in Washington. Donald Trump returned to Capitol Hill to meet with Republican lawmakers there for the first time since he took office, and they gave him a very warm welcome today. Members of the House say happy birthday. He turned 78 tomorrow, by the way. They gave him a baseball and a bat from last night's congressional baseball game. The goal was to map out this agenda should he win, but also shows unity among Republicans, something Trump bragged about in a speech after meeting with senators. News correspondent with Theta News joins us live tonight from Capitol Hill, where this all went down. I was shocked to see Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell shaking hands, and they were both smiling, by the way, at that moment. So what was the goal here?
Well, the goal was to show unity among the Republican Party, and by almost all accounts, that was accomplished. With very few exceptions, Republicans banded together today, first the Republican in the morning, then senators in the afternoon, to meet with former President Trump and basically, have a kumbaya moment. Here's what Republicans said after meeting with Senate Republicans.
This is an outstanding group of people. I'm with them 1,000%. Me 1,000%. We agree just about on everything, and if there isn't, we work it out. And I've had a really great relationship with just about everybody here, just about all of the senators, and if it wasn't fantastic, it gets worked out. And we have one thing in mind, and that's making our country great.
And again, this is really the first time that the former president has been up here in Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., just steps from the U.S. Capitol building since he left the presidency back in 2021.
No.
For many Republicans,
Since he got on
returned to the party moment, and certainly a big part of the 2024 campaign determining the Republican agenda should they take back the House, the Senate, come November.
Well, and so often, Donald Trump, he's accustomed to receiving gifts, and Mar-a-Lago do come to him.
Man, why did they treat this asshole with such kid gloves? He's a worthless piece of shit.
Glad to see the president. I caught up with one of them earlier, Representative Mike Lawler, Republican from New York, who was key to Republicans retaking the majority in 2022, and here's what he told me.
Fuck you all, man.
Do you think that the conflict is largely aligned with the former president?
Anyway, what am I doing here?
Look, the American people are going to determine...
60 years old. He tired of it.
And, the issues are pretty clear and, pretty stark in terms of the policy decisions that were made under President Trump previously.
You don't need to work our brain cells.
That have been made under Joe Biden. And I think the American people will have a very clear choice.
The vegetation behind the bush has been trampled. The body is just in front of a bush, one of the only bushes in the surrounding area. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Again, brain cells to work.
What was Sir Carmichael's position when he was killed? He was standing up, facing away from the beach.
Today on Capitol Hill.
It goes without saying, a lot of Democrats were not following all these themselves to welcome him back. I think Nancy Pelosi was something like he was returning to the scene of the crime. So, live on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Nate. World leaders are gathered for the G7 summit began today, and there was a lot to cover in a 3-day summit. Ongoing moves, artificial intelligence, threats posed by
Body was still warm, Russia, China, with blood,
the effort to support Ukraine. That's what the top spot today. President Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a bilateral security agreement to beef up their efforts against Russian aggression. Global Affairs correspondent Maya Rodriguez joins us tonight with some details on that. Maya, so these two men, they've been together so much. The U.S., Ukraine, we're official allies, but have worked together. The U.S. has invested heavily in this effort. How is this doing?
So the U.S. is not the only country that's invested a lot of money and
Sir Carmichael had his back to the bush when the killer cut his throat from behind. A fatal blow that sprayed blood over a range of more than 1 meter.
And the U.S. has a new
Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
So here's what happened. The G7
If he had his back to the bush, that means he was facing the sea,
that
but
comes from the profits of nearly $300 billion
he didn't fall back.
Russian assets, which are
He fell
currently
forward and turned around.
countries. That money would then be used by Ukraine to pay for its military effort. Now, at the G7, President
Carmichael see his murder? Apparently not.
and they signed that 10-year
He was looking at the bush.
agreement between the U.S. and Ukraine.
He was looking at the,
Now, the
at the
agreement
sea.
did not involve any U.S. troops on the ground there.
The murderer was there.
Also not binding. Meaning if there is
Buddy
a new
Levitt.
administration in the White House next year, it could be dissolved. This is just one of the G7 meeting, which goes until Saturday in southern Italy. Take a listen to what President Biden had to say after signing that historic agreement with Ukraine.
So how can he fall
Have
forward?
you finished, Poirot?
Chief Inspector, many questions remain unanswered, but I am certain of one
For the
thing.
long term. A lasting
Killer
peace
is
in
an opportunist.
Ukraine must be
Murderer was
underwritten by
carefully planned.
Ukraine's own ability to defend itself now and
Opportunist.
to deter future aggression anytime in the future.
The killer is a daring opportunist.
Now, the G7
He met Sir Carmichael at nightfall on this deserted path and took advantage of the situation.
Impossible. You forget the trampled grass behind the bush.
C'est vrai. It proved that he was waiting for his victim.
Quite right. He must have known Sir Carmichael's movements well to plan such an attack.
Ukraine and Russia. An American held wrongfully in Russia under the Wall Street Journal. We got an update on this news.
That's true. Russia announced that
The
they
murderer
will be
struck
putting
with
George
terrible
Bush on
savagery.
trial on espionage
Yes, blood
charges.
flowed.
Now, again,
It's the first time he's attacked a man. He armed himself accordingly.
Have you spoken to the victim's family, Chief Inspector?
I've spoken to the brother, Franklin Clark. I didn't get much out of him. He's yours. I must get the body removed.
Detention hearings where they don't set a trial date. Now they say we will take him to trial, but again, they have not set a date. So it remains to be seen when exactly.
He's facing that way.
Oh my gosh, I know you've been in close
Why
touch with
is he
this
facing up?
Thank you, my reverence, appreciate that.
Unless he fell, yeah, he could fall forward and then roll over, but then the blood would be matching the body.
Medication abortion is now the most common method in the United States and the U.S. Over the past few years, the FDA made that pill available by mail and through telemedicine, but
on his daily
that was a bridge too far for one group of doctors. And they sued, claiming the FDA violated federal law in expanding that access. But the High Court rejected that complaint on the grounds that the doctors did not have standing. In other words, they didn't show they had been harmed in any way. Despite today's victory, Vice President Kamala Harris says the fight isn't over.
The sight is exceptional. It is easy to imagine that Sir Carmichael used to enjoy stopping here every evening.
Things are still not going to change. We are looking at the fact that 2/3 of women of reproductive age in America live in a state with a Trump abortion ban.
While the doctors may not have standing in this case, the ruling leaves open the possibility that other groups or states could sue over mifepristone. But again, for now, the drug remains widely illegal. More on that later this hour. But straight ahead on the race right now, a new report about private jet trips taken by Justice Clarence Thomas. Who gave him the previously undisclosed trips? Why are we finding out about it right now?
To be honest, this inspector seems rather obtuse. I'm counting on your friend Poirot to catch my brother's murderer. Ah, here he is now. Please, Mr. Poirot. Mr. Poirot, this is my brother's secretary, Miss Thora Gray.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Poirot. Would you like some tea?
No, thank you, mademoiselle. I find it hard to digest.
$8 billion plan to boost IRS funds.
It's hard to digest.
They could garnish your wages, levy your bank account, and even seize your property. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax firm, can help protect your income and assets today while quickly settling your tax debt. But you have to act now while you still have options. Call Tax Network USA today.
It is not the right time.
You're still playing with these? Don't get cartridge. Switch to the cartridge-free Epson EcoTank. No more spending big bucks on tiny expensive cartridges.
EcoTank comes with up to
There is something elegant about her.
5,000 pages. Switch to EcoTank and save up to $80. Visit EpsonEcoTank today to switch and save.
Just feel it,
A lot of people need to replace their windows or patio doors, but they
Understated
quit
makeup?
because they think it'll be too expensive. Hi, I'm Ann Romer. I'm here with Michael Smith from Renewal by Anderson.
She has good taste, except perhaps in her choice of jewelry.
One of the largest window manufacturers in North America. So we can usually offer.
Please excuse me, I have to take care of Lady Clark.
Smaller companies or contractors.
Other window companies don't offer your same window and door installation method.
Hastings does not like very hot tea. He's going to blow on his cup for a good while before drinking.
Being custom built also means if you have any beautiful trim that you'd like to keep, we can often.
It is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to question him. Hastings does not like very hot tea. He's going to blow on his cup for a good while before drinking. Hastings does.
That's good for an entire year.
It is not the right time.
My background is in home remodeling.
It is not the right time.
Every window problem out there. So now I just want to help homeowners make their homes more beautiful and comfortable with the right window.
It is a once-in-a-lifetime.
They are. And they're engineered to easily.
My brother's wife is gravely ill. You will probably want to question her, but I fear that it won't be possible today.
So great to hear, Michael. Thank you.
Before June 30th, buy one window, patio door, or entry door, and get the next one 40% off. That's 40% off with a minimum purchase
of 4. I understand.
Someone
set a trap for your brother. Who was familiar with his habits?
Everybody knew he took his evening walk at 8:30, and that he always followed the same path.
June 30th. For a free appointment with Renewal by Anderson, call 1-800-662-0202. That's 1-800-662.
Franklin is a suspect? Why? What makes him a suspect?
We got some breaking news tonight we want to tell you about.
And did people of the village know Sir Carmichael's habits?
I don't know. It's possible.
What were you doing last night?
After dinner, I went to my bedroom. At 11 in the evening, the telephone rang. It was the police. I went to look for my brother.
And according to ProPublica, Crow's attorneys provided that new detail as part of negotiations with the and to release a full report of the findings later this summer. The law continues surrounding comments by Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito made to liberal journalists who secretly reported him at a Supreme Court gala. You'll know them. Lauren Windsor is a documentary filmmaker who posed as a conservative activist. She used her own name, by the way. She was invited to this event at gala.
Was it a dark night?
It was a new moon. I took a lantern.
Here's what he said.
So it was you who found the body?
Yes, along with the gardener.
Have you seen any strangers around the house recently?
No. As far as I know, nobody has been near the house.
Miss Clark.
Oh, Lady Clark must have fallen from her chair. I have to help Miss Gray get her up.
Hastings, while our host is gone, let's examine the drawing room.
But, Poirot, a gentleman shouldn't...
I take full responsibility. All you have to do is to leave the drawing room door ajar and let me know if anyone is coming.
Actually, No Scripts News is a partner of ProPublica, and they released a statement saying, ProPublica exposes abuses of power no matter which party is in charge. In our newsroom, operates with fierce independence. Donors are made aware of stories before they're published. Whenever they have a say as to which stories reporters pursue. They continue. More than 55,000 donors in every stripe actively fund our investigative, nonpartisan journalism. With us tonight is the woman at the center of this storm who reported many of these comments.
This is Alchemy?
Lauren, how many more recordings are you sitting
Compass,
on right
point to the south.
Oh, no.
Bronze and magnetite, hand dynasty, circa 210 BC, purchased in Hong Kong 1935.
colleague Ali Samarco. So that was a separate conversation from the one that I had. I spoke with him about polarization.
There are some very valuable objects here.
Could you tell me how many people you work with?
There are some very valuable objects here.
I work with any number of undercover journalists. I'm not going to talk about methodology or identify them. Some of them look like Ali. Some of them would rather remain private. So I would respect that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Since the 90s, Clarence Thomas...
Sir Carmichael's collection could rival that of a major museum.
The tape Alito kind of called out ProPublica. Based on conversations that you're aware of, is Alito now in that same mindset maybe as Thomas, feeling that incoming? What does that look like for him?
What does it look like for him to be aggrieved, like with the media?
Yeah, do you think that it's based on reality? Is it conspiratorial in nature? What is it?
I mean, I think that he very much is taking a lot of media scrutiny right now. Whether or not that's conspiratorial,
dragon,
can't see into his
crane,
mind.
and the tiger.
Couldn't speculate on
I
that.
think I've already seen this motif somewhere.
But from the multiple conversations I had with him, that he definitely was feeling aggrieved by the media scrutiny.
I guess I could just ask,
So
are you
it's the reality that he feels that. Am I after him? I mean, I'm after accountability and, just trying to get at a greater truth. So to the degree that it's exposed his mindset on how he arrives at decisions, I hope that that's in service of a greater public good.
I see. In the name of...
I know why you use it. It's very out to get him. I'm sorry?
No, if he feels like people are out to get me, I think it's worthwhile just to ask, like, what are the intentions of people? I've seen you talk about it in the media recently, and I think going to the point is many times helpful. Would you consider releasing the full unedited audio just to get it all out there?
The majority of the audio of that conversation is out there. The only pieces that are missing are a conversation with a judge who interrupted us, and to the degree that I can protect people who are civilians who didn't have any part in this knowingly, I am trying to expose conversations with people in power, and is a judge from New York.
The position of each motif is correct, but they are not turned the same way as on the table.
Person I had a conversation at this dinner with, if you want to hear Judge Sweeting in New York have a conversation about New York and Justice Alito's grandkids, I can let you listen to it off the record. But I'm not going to subject Judge Sweeting to that.
Okay. I couldn't stop thinking, all of this access for $500. That was the going rate, I think, for
tickets. The same way as on the table.
$500. What was it like in that room? Because again, it is so hard.
That's a tiger. That's a dragon.
Justices, yet $500.
That's a crane. That's a turtle. Where's the turtle? I don't see a turtle.
I mean, $500 is a pretty small amount for access to one of the most powerful.
The position of each motif is correct, but they are not turned the same way as on the table.
Spending $500 on a dinner is, a lot of money, right?
Same way as on the table.
It was worthwhile in service of,
the position of each motif is
having access to that, and particularly if you have money, if you are, wealthy special interests, it's not a lot of money to invest in, getting your voice before someone who might be deciding on a case that you have before the court or an issue that you might be advocating on.
Do they have handle on this? Because at one point in the audio, I hear someone say, sorry to break
the position of each motif is correct, but they are not turned the same way as on the table.
I think I identified that person in the audio.
The same way
If you read the transcript as it's saying, it says Judge Sweeting, which is what I'm referring to. It's not a handler. It's they have a lot of fans. There's other people who are guests in attendance, and this particular judge saw me talking to Justice Alito and wanted to say something, and I certainly didn't have any monopoly on his time, so that was pretty much
not turned the same way as on the table. All I see is a dragon here.
To Justice Alito, and then I, told him I was rooting for him and went on my way.
That.
I know that you've said recently you felt an imperative to do this.
That's a tiger.
And you talked about the ethics breaches that really bothered you. Which breach in particular were you referencing there?
Well, I know the initial reporting from ProPublica on Clarence Thomas that was really shocking to me, that we had just decades of evidence that he was accepting these lavish gifts from Marlon Pro, and so...
The position of each motif is correct, but they are not turned the same way as on the table.
James O'Keefe, I was reading your old tweets, and apparently he infiltrated your organization back in 2016, and when he got voted, you said good riddance, scumbag, something like that. You've taken a lot of criticism for your methodology here and the ethics of that. Do you feel like this is justified now that you've taken so much income?
I do feel like it's justified, and I was also just defended by a media ethics, dean of journalism from UC Berkeley. So it's not like I would never purport to invent undercover reporting. James O'Keefe didn't invent undercover reporting. It's been going on for a long time, and maybe it's out of fashion now in traditional journalism circles, but it's definitely something that's been around for a long time. So I think that in a time of rampant public corruption, that sometimes, more extreme measures in journalism are warranted. In particular, in cases where there's public officials who are abusing the public trust.
I see. Should other agencies and officials be expecting a visit?
I'm only one person, and I can only do so much, but, I think that in terms of what I can do, I will continue to do this as long as I can do this, but I don't have someone that's imminently on my radar that I'm going to share with you, but
okay.
I think anyone who's in a place of public power who's abusing that should be wary for sure.
Okay. Long answer. Without warning there. Thank you very much.
Oh, there's the right one right there.
On the race. Today's top political stories in our race roundup, including a failed Senate push to protect access to IVF nationwide. Details next.
Won't switch these lines only on Scripps News.
Hi, I'm Susan from Humana Dental. These days we're all watching our budgets and making choices on what matters most. One thing that should really matter is dental insurance, because the fact is, great oral health is critical to your overall health. And your overall health matters most to us. That's why Humana Dental is committed to helping you keep your teeth and gums healthy. Just call the number on your screen or visit us online at humanadental.com for a free quote. We'll help you choose from a range of dental plans designed to fit your whole family's needs. And our plans are affordable, starting as low as $18 a month. That's only 60 cents a day. Plus, Humana Dental has plans with low deductibles. All right. Just call the number on your screen or visit us online at humanadental.com for a free quote. We're here to help. All right. You'll find getting dental insurance has never been easier. Easy to enroll, easy to understand, and easy to use. And that's a fact. You'll get savings on basic procedures like fillings, extractions, and more. You'll also get 100% coverage for in-network preventive care. Plus, Humana Dental offers savings on major procedures like root canals, crowns, and dentures. Do you have a dental condition? Don't worry. At Humana Dental, you won't be turned down for coverage. Need coverage soon? At Humana Dental, you can use your new benefits in as little as 5 days. Okay. And you can choose from over 100,000 dentists and specialists. Need a vision plan? Humana also offers plans as low as $12 a month, including coverage for exams, plus lenses and frames, or contacts. Questions? Call to talk to us today. We're here to help you. Because when it comes to getting fast, easy-to-use, affordable dental insurance, it pays to know the facts. Call now or go online for free information and a free quote. We'll get you covered. Humana. A more human way to healthcare.
Let's look at something else.
Learning something new is hard, especially in
The cardinal points. This book could maybe help me. Each cardinal point is associated with one animal and one color. In the middle sits the imperial dragon, and out of respect, all the others are turned towards him.
Real conversations with real people and a new language. Ready to find your follow-through? Get Babbel. It starts here. Start learning today at Babbel.com.
Rather than turn towards
economic outlook is uncertain.
There is no election where the economy isn't one of the biggest issues.
Americans are on the front lines of the battle against inflation.
black, red,
An unattainable dream.
blue,
What am I going to do about childcare? Politicians need to acknowledge how people feel right now.
black, red.
For the White House. At 38 Central, only on Scripps News.
President Biden made some domestic news during his trip to Italy for the G7 summit. Top shot race roundup tonight. In a joint news conference with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Biden said he has no plans to target his son Hunter. That's something he has said before, but the first time he was also asked about commutation of that sentence. The answer was no. To live with it. A Delaware jury convicted Hunter Biden on Tuesday on 3 felony gun charges.
I'm not going to leave now.
Up to 25 years in prison. Another so-called showboat in the Senate goes down in defeat. Democrats narrowly control that chamber and try to get Republicans to go on the record protecting IDF rights. Republicans Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins joined 46 Democrats and independents voting in favor, but they needed 60 votes to advance. Advocates warn legal is now under threat in some states following the fall of Roe. Some abortion opponents view an embryo as a person who deserves legal protection.
A dragon.
We should have top Republicans like Donald Trump say IVF should be protected. Today's vote failed.
A turtle.
Republicans are saying that they're not cooperating on these because you're not reaching across the aisle. You're not looking for something that they're willing to support. I mean, are there any plans to kind of go through markup, bringing up legislation in committee that Republicans could get over with?
Very simple answer. We gave them a vote on the motion to proceed. If they would have voted yes, they could have made amendments. They could have put their own legislation on the floor. They refused. They're afraid to vote on this issue, plain and simple.
We are now 2 weeks away from the first 2024 presidential debate. President Biden and former President Trump square off June 27th in Atlanta. CNN posting, but it will be simulcast on other networks, including Scripps News. It will also be the earliest presidential debate in U.S. history.
It is an emperor. His place at the center of the table is probably symbolic.
For the audience sitting us now head towards the right. Stick with us. We're at scriptsnews.com/TV. If you want to stay in there, a ton more headed your way on the race, including Steve Schmidt, political analyst. He has prepped presidential candidates in the past for these debates. We're going to ask him, should they get on it? Stay with us.
Dragon, dragon, dragon. Sir Carmichael showed himself to be very consistent in his collection's theme.
It's one of the easiest ways to take better control of your diabetes and help protect yourself from the long-term health problems it can cause. This small wearable replaces finger sticks, lowers A1C, and it's covered by Medicare.
Not managing your diabetes really affects your health for the future. No, you get the more complications you're going to see.
I knew I didn't know my diabetes anymore because it was
Color correction, bridges since 1920.
Before the Dexcom G7,
Comside's private. The catalog for Sir Carmichael Clark's collection.
Get about Dexcom G7. It's the biggest eye opener they've ever had.
when I got Dexcom G7, I couldn't believe how easy it was. The small letter sends my glucose numbers right to my phone or my receiver. With just a glance, I can see if I'm going high, low, or steady.
Comside's private collection, purchases since 1920. The catalog for Sir Carmichael Clark's collection.
Dexcom G7, the most recommended CGM brand. Dexcom G7 has changed my life for the better. Now, I'm a superstar. My A1C is 5.7.
My A1C has never been lower. It's all the way down to a 7. I go swimming, I ride the exercise bikes, and I play with my grandkids. I'm family and my life back.
My wife used to worry about me having diabetes before my Dexcom G7. But now, she doesn't worry as much because she knows.
It gives me a lot of peace of mind. I wanted to be around for them.
Dexcom G7 can improve your glucose control, which helps prevent long-term complications and a longer, healthier life. Call now to receive a free discussion guide for your next doctor visit.
We're excited to do business with you, but before we sign, I gotta ask.
The cardinal points. This book could
and
each cardinal point is associated with one animal.
That garbage is still coming in. That's so false.
Frustrated with your online search results? Call Reputation to
Turtle, dragon, crane and the tiger. I think I've already seen this motif somewhere.
Or call 1-877-866-8555.
Range at the top.
The position of each motif is correct, but they are not turned the same way as on the table.
Okay, so go like this.
The position of each motif is
What I got. And black at the top.
Welcome to the race on Scripps News. I'm Chance Seals in Washington. Today, another major abortion ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court. The abortion pill, mifepristone, will stay on the market. In a unanimous opinion, the High Court ruled anti-abortion groups and doctors have no standing to challenge the FDA's regulation of the pill, which has gotten looser over recent years. Democrats cheered that decision. Conservatives have largely stayed quiet on this. Advocates, though, on both sides say there are more legal challenges to come. National political correspondent Alex Miller has covered the court for years and this raging debate. Alex, 3 states apparently could challenge this pill next. The ruling today, though, what did it do?
Okay.
It doesn't do a whole lot. It leaves the expanded access right where it is. It leaves access to this drug, mifepristone, and it is because, as you said, of this standing. What that means is that the justices said, essentially the people who are part of this case, the anti-abortion doctors, didn't prove that they either were injured or could become injured because of this medication. They don't have to prescribe it. They're obviously not taking it themselves. They don't have to show, or they didn't show, rather, that they had any injury to their property, monetary damages, none of these things. I want to read you a little bit of what Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote in this 30-something page opinion that was agreed to by all of these justices. He said, in other words, none of the doctors' declaration says anything like the following. Here is the treatment provided, here's how it violated my conscience, and these conscience protections were unavailable to me. They all were available to these doctors. They were never forced to provide this medication if they did not feel comfortable. But as you mentioned, this is not the end of this fight because 3 states were involved in the lower courts, Kansas, Idaho, and Missouri. They were involved in this lower court ruling, but they were not able to be involved in the Supreme Court. So now that it goes back to the lower courts, we could see these states get involved once again. Other red states are using different ways to classify this drug. We see Louisiana, they're classifying it as a controlled substance as of October 1st. So we can start to see, expect to see some maybe different avenues taken by various red states in prohibiting access to this drug.
Which this is part of the election represents over, really well over half of the abortions in this country this morning, medication abortion. So when you look at the larger impact, how are the parties responding?
Yeah, more than 6 in 10 women used this drug last year. It's the most common way to have an abortion up to 10 weeks.
This book could maybe help me. Each cardinal point is associated with one animal and one color. In the middle sits the impaled dragon, and out of respect, all the others are turned towards him.
Republicans have been fairly quiet on this because, as we talk about all the time, this is a popular issue across party lines. The former president himself saying the matter is settled, and when he was asked about it, pushing to discussions about what he calls President Biden's weaknesses. He doesn't want to talk about the issue of abortion, even though we saw him speak before a very anti-abortion group earlier this week. Somebody like a Mike Waller, a Republican from a purple district outside of New York City, commending
I've already seen this motif somewhere.
abortion ban. But even Democrats, they know that even though this is a win today, it's not a win more largely. Listen to what the leader said today.
We are not yet out of the woods. This shouldn't be a decision women are forced to fear year after year, case after case. These healthcare decisions must be between women, families, and their doctors. not judges or lawmakers.
And Chancellor Kavanaugh called it the wrong forum for raising concerns about this medication. He said instead it is for the political and electoral process.
Alex Miller, live in New York with the latest update. Thank you so much. So let's go deeper tonight with this story and more with Scripps News political analyst Steve Schmidt. Steve is the founder of The Warning, a newsletter and podcast.
The position of each motive is correct, but they are
The
not.
Supreme Court unanimously said no, this abortion pill remains on the market, at least for now. Are conservatives in some way relieved that it's out of their hands?
Well, there will certainly be a lot of political consultants working for Republican candidates, particularly those vulnerable House members, those post-Senate races who are breathing a deep sigh of relief that the intensity of the reaction is at least postponed for a bit with the ruling
This
of
is
focus
interesting.
on not the merits of mifepristone and whether ultimately it will be banned. I think that it's important for the audience to understand
Ernest Logan, MD, Brighton Cancer Institute, 201 Dusk Road, Brighton, Sussex. To Sir Carmichael Clark, MD, Comside Churston, Devon. Brighton, 1935, January the 5th. As a man of science, I owe it to you to be completely frank. Lady Clark, your wife is suffering from a generalized terminal cancer. I confess I didn't suspect anything like that during the first exams. But with the test results I have received today, there is unfortunately no place for doubt. I estimate that Lady Clark's life expectancy is no more than 1 year. Hospitalization would not help in her case. So I advise you to keep her at home and provide her with as much morphine as required to ease her last moments. Yours sincerely, Ernest Logan.
On a really what's a technical.
These daggers are only ceremonial weapons. I do not think that the crime weapon is here.
We do have about 14 more days of chocolate to eat because the Biden-Trump debate is 2 weeks from tonight, Steve.
Yes, Miss Gray.
I'm looking forward to this to figure out what's going to go on.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Lady Clark's condition requires regular care. I believe you want to ask me a few questions.
Indeed, mademoiselle. This porcelain is remarkable. Is it old?
It's about 3 centuries old, I believe. Wait, let me find the reference.
All of them. Because it's tough to be the president when the staff comes and get excited to go do your practice when you're dealing with the weighty issues that come in front of that office. So the president basically says to the staff, I'm a busy guy, go away. And the president starts preparing for the second debate.
She appears to be very flustered.
President Biden is the debate. The second one is in September, and that may be the last one. This is of monumental importance. Whatever else the president is doing, when he talks about democracy,
She's unable to hide her emotion, and her makeup has been disturbed. I think that this young woman has just been kissed.
who have held the office and rebuking him
Here,
for breaking his oath of office.
teapot with black dragon, Gangxi period, end of the 17th century. It is a rare piece with unusual colours.
There is an old Marine Corps
You have a good knowledge of art history.
Acquired while working with Sir Carmichael. I used to help him manage his collection and choose his new acquisitions.
saying for presidential debate prep.
I'm glad you said that, Emily. I think my mom's probably watching.
What her relationship
So, if
with
you
her
were
employer,
around that table,
and she was
prepping
embarrassed to
him,
be
what do you think he needs
observed
to
as
be
an
most
elderly
ready
man.
for?
Well, he doesn't have to be ready for anything new because there is nothing new
Where's your
today.
relationship with her
You have an
employer?
opponent that's calling for
Did you have a good relationship with your employer?
He treated me well, and I am sorry for his death.
Have you seen any strangers hanging around in the past few days?
No. Nobody has been near Comside.
Was rigged despite no evidence whatsoever.
Where she was at the time of the crime.
Bookkeepers, fascist
A version of the facts.
their leader in jail for conspicuous
Tell me what happened last night.
After dinner? Well, I did some sewing, and then I went to bed. I was woken by the telephone at 11. I heard Franklin Clark speaking with the gardener. They left with some lanterns and they found the body.
I was just with the great leaders of the world's democracies, the leaders of the world's great democracies. They have contempt for you. They have fear for our version. And what I want to say to the American people tonight is if this man takes political power in the United States, not only will he try to infringe on your freedoms and liberties,
why do you hate Franklin Clark?
But why would I hate him?
The instigation of a third world war as it expands beyond Ukraine to Europe.
Miss Gray, if I may be so bold, please do not take offence. My friend has rather unusual methods, but all he wants is to find the murderer.
Yes, I understand. I must rest. Please excuse me.
I mean, Donald Trump, he wings it, we know that. You just laid out a ton of...
Earlier, you asked me to watch the living room door for you. I don't wish to be indiscreet, but sometimes a gentleman stumbles upon a secret without intending to.
That is sometimes the case.
And I saw Franklin Clark kissing Miss Gray at the foot of the stairs.
Do you think this is a common occurrence?
No, I saw emotion, intensity. I think it was their first kiss.
Well done, mon ami. Well spotted.
However, I don't think I completely understand this business. Why did Sir Carmichael not defend himself? He appeared to have been active and strong.
The murderer did not give him a chance. Let us try and reconstruct the scene.
I think Donald Trump is delivering to the country a version of an Apprentice episode. This is the beefsteaks. He's testing the waters with all of these.
Sir Clark is taking his customary walk. Our killer is hiding behind a bush.
Well, listen, I think the front runner for the
old man walks quietly along the gravel path.
Second beyond that is likely Marco Rubio. J.D. Vance is a vetting disaster zone.
He then passes the bush and continues on his way to the house.
No, Sir Clark used to gaze at the sea. Let us think again.
He is a high liability candidate, untested on the national stage.
Sir Clark is taking his customary walk. Our killer is hiding behind a bush.
Good talk to you.
And you can get the latest updates on all
the old man walks quietly along the gravel path.
Facebook, TikTok, Threads, we're everywhere. But right now, I've had on the raise our network initiative, Paths to the White House, exploring how the economy is affecting undescribable.
Sir Clark sees a shadow.
There is a significant, exhaustive majority of Americans who have lost faith in all our institutions.
No. Sir Clark was attacked by surprise. He could not see his assailant. Let us think again, mon cher.
Cultural and economic upheaval, Steve Schmidt's The Warning looks to help all Americans.
Sir Clark is taking his customary walk. Our killer is hiding behind a bush.
So subscribe to The Warning, Steve Schmidt, wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube and Substack.
The old man walks quietly along the gravel path.
Giving you fast, reliable nationwide coverage at half the cost of the leading carriers. But don't worry, we've got more than that going for us.
And he turns towards the sea to gaze at it.
It's a perfect place for me to tell you a little bit more about our phones and how they can become your phones. You name it, we've got the gun. We have the top smartphones from all the major companies. If it's state-of-the-art cameras you want, we got it. If you want a smartphone with lots of bells and whistles but won't break the bank, we got that too. We even have a flip phone, like the Iris Flip.
The killer leaves his hiding place on the left-hand side. He walks over the gravel on the path. The noise alerts Sir Clark, who turns around.
No, Sir Clark was attacked by surprise. He could not see his assailant. Let us think again, mon cher.
Call 1-800-918-5349 or visit consumercellular.com to switch today.
Sir Clark is taking his customary walk. Our killer is hiding behind a bush. The old man walks quietly along the gravel path. Then he turns towards the sea to gaze at it.
The sugar, right? The best part.
Everyone at Oak Street Health is experienced with people my age.
The killer leaves his hiding place on the right-hand side. He approaches silently over the grass.
Here people get to know me the old-fashioned way. By listening.
Then he throws himself on his prey and cuts the poor man's throat. He then lays down the ABC before leaving. Everything appears to match the crime scene, mon cher Hastings. That is exactly what happened.
How do you get the blood on the ABC book?
Whether it's doctors, nurses, social workers, we will help support even someone to help me understand my Medicare benefits. They all work together. For me, myself, and I. Not to mention a 24/7 patient support.
Just a minute. I'm getting dressed.
Plan for him, and we can do the same for you.
Getting the care you need now because our team members work together to handle all your healthcare needs.
And you get all this, but no insurance. They even gather all your medical records.
Mr. Kirst, have you recently returned from Chester?
Yes. Indeed I have.
Have you seen the papers? And to think that you might have rubbed shoulders with the killer. Imagine that. Mr. Kirst, are you all right? You don't seem well.
My apologies. My throat is burning and my head feels heavy. It's ever since the war, you know. Since my injury, my head has never been the same.
And the city of Milwaukee is going to be the one hosting it. Donald Trump has some interesting things to say about it today, apparently. So they have on their website, welcome to the city, we're glad to have you. But in his meetings with Republicans on Capitol Hill...
Poirot, it's a pleasure to be with you again after all these years. I looked for a gift to thank you, and I found this propelling pencil.
An authentic collector's item. You spoiled me, mon ami.
And you more so by sharing investigations.
Do not underestimate the help you are to me, Hastings. Intellect is not everything. There is also goodwill, and you are not short of that. Later, I will ask you to help me tidy up the room and bring some chairs. Our guest will be here soon.
Ah, is Thora Gray coming?
Naturally. She is a fascinating young woman, n'est-ce pas?
Oh, come on, Poirot. I'm a married man. And Miss Gray has already been courted by Franklin Clark. Poirot, our guests will be here soon. We must prepare ourselves.
So Trump himself clarified those comments speaking to Fox this afternoon. Here's what he said, quote,
I should take advantage of the silence to examine them.
Crime. I love Milwaukee. I have great friends in Milwaukee, but the crime numbers are terrible. Violent crimes did go down from higher, according to Milwaukee Police Department, including homicide, rape, and aggravated assault. Over the next 5 weeks leading up to this presidential nominating conventions in places like Milwaukee, stations in key swing states, going in depth on the issues that really matter most to voters. And this week, we are looking at the economy. The unemployment rate, inflation is cooling. Wages are increasing. Yet, as November nears, millions of Americans remain uneasy about the economy, to say the least. The majority believe we're in a recession. We're not. National correspondent Thomas Hoppo profiles two undecided voters tonight, weighing the candidates and the economy.
How things are going for me with inflation and everything else, it's a little difficult.
This is DeAndre Smith, a private chef.
And with us, it would be 2 incomes plus a business. And then on top of that, trying to have groceries and pay for gas, it's a lot. So things have definitely changed from 10 years ago to now.
There you go, champion.
And this is Jason Robinson, a personal trainer and owner of JarFit.
For me personally, it's been a great economy. But what's going on with everyone else? Because I'm a person that cares about my fellow American. I care about the people around me. And then I see some of our clients that aren't in that category, that do have to really strictly budget for their training, are falling off because they just can't afford it.
They have a lot in common, and they each have their own business and work directly with many clients. Another thing in common, they'll vote in November. They just don't know for whom. A big reason, the economy.
Where the economy is, I've had to increase my prices. they always question, well, why are prices this much? Well, it's because I have to match up with the food prices.
According to a recent poll by the University of North Florida, 27% of voters said their top issue is the economy when making their 2024 presidential vote. That's more than any other. Overall, most voters, 56%, wrongly believe we're in a recession. That includes nearly half of Democrats and more than 2/3 of Republicans. It's a problem for the president, even though we haven't been in a recession since 2020. Then there's inflation. Though the rate of price increases is slowing, it's still high. It's down to about 3% now from a peak of 9%.
The real wages are increasing much faster than the inflation rate, which is very steady at 3.4%. And therefore, the real wages are in fact increasing, but people are not feeling it because there is so much negativism outside.
Dr. Kishore Kulkarni is an economist at Metro State University in Denver and says despite the low unemployment rate and slowing inflation, many people believe the economy isn't doing well because food and gas prices are still high.
I think that's where the main pinch is as far as the general public is concerned, that grocery prices are going up and everything related to grocery bill, let's say restaurant industry. So that's why we feel that we are not doing very well.
For Jason and DeAndre, there is no simple solution, even as the reality slowly improves.
Helping minimum wage not only with and matching with inflation, because you have a lot of people who are overworking themselves just to be able to meet the minimum requirements.
I can't help but to think about people that were in my shoes a few years ago, where I was trying to build a business and living paycheck to paycheck, how it would have affected me.
Thomas Hoppo, Scripps News, Denver.
Each week, as part of this initiative, we have a half-hour special each Thursday night. That's tonight. Scripps News reports perhaps in the White House. Tune in this evening, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going deep on the economy on Scripps News. All up tonight, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office in Atlanta is asking the state's second highest court to throw out an appeal by Donald attorneys in his racketeering case. The appeal stems from the romantic relationship DA Fonnie Willis had with Nathan Wade, her now former top prosecutor. Back in March, Judge Scott McAfee ruled the relationship did not constitute a conflict of interest, as the defense claimed, but he said in order for Willis to remain in the case, Wade had to go. And he did that day. Last night, Wade talked to CNN, and he denied that he's at all responsible for a delay in Trump's case. He also predicted the trial will ultimately move forward.
I hope to concentrate on my guests.
Prosecutors that are willing.
I hope to concentrate on my guests.
And excited about accepting this task, particularly in light of
Franklin Clark always seems at ease, regardless of where he is. Something that's unique to people who travel.
Very, very dangerous role. And it's not to be taken lightly.
Much more of that interview later tonight. Join us 7:30 p.m. Eastern for America.
I should take advantage of the silence to examine them.
And on the race, though, I'll round up with the stories we are going to be watching for you tomorrow. And joining the race tomorrow, by the way, we have a special guest, Chris Matthews, the former host of longtime political show.
Sometimes I love a brunette, sometimes I love a blonde. That's what the song says.
p.m. Eastern. Don't miss that. We are back in 3 minutes.
The song says, sometimes I love a blonde who comes from Eden by way of Sweden. But I am not sure that this blonde is an angel.
The Race Weekend, Saturday at 9 a.m., 8 Central on Scripps News.
I always say if you visit Nevada today and you come back in 5 years, you will
Donald is always on edge.
It makes it just a great town to cover politics. I'm Steve Sebelius in Las Vegas, Scripps News.
Do you owe over $10,000 in back taxes? Kevin Sorbo here with an important message. The Biden administration has proposed an $80 billion plan to boost IRS collections. This means they could garnish your wages,
Leave me
your
alone.
bank account, and even seize your property. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax firm, can help protect your income and assets today while quickly settling your tax debt. But you have to act now while you still have options. Call Tax Network USA today.
Hi, I'm Susan from Humana Dental.
These days, we're all watching our budgets and making choices on what matters most.
Leave me
One
alone.
thing that should really matter is dental insurance, because the fact is, great oral health is critical to your overall health. And your overall health matters most to us. That's why Humana Dental is committed to helping you keep your teeth and gums healthy. Just call the number on your screen or visit us online at humanadental.com for a free quote. We'll help you choose from a range of dental plans designed
Leave me
to meet your
alone.
whole family's needs. And our plans are affordable, starting as low as $18 a month. That's only 60 cents a day.
Donald Fraser is very nervous at the moment, even if he's trying hard to control himself.
Or visit us online at humanadental.com for a free quote. We're here to help. You'll find getting dental insurance has never been easier.
She appears to have taken more care with her appearance than last time.
And that's a fact. You'll get savings on basic procedures like fillings, extractions, and more. You'll also get 100% coverage for in-network preventive care. Plus, Humana Dental offers savings on major procedures like root canals, crowns, and dentures. Do you have a dental condition?
She's looking at Mr. Fraser out of the corner of her eye.
No, she's not.
Did she make herself beautiful for him?
At Humana Dental, you can use your internet for 5 days. And you can choose from over 100,000 dental
I wish to thank you all for
Need a
coming.
vision plan?
I wanted to bring everyone close to the victims here in order to unmask the murderer.
Get to the point, Mr. Poirot. What do you want from us?
Call to talk to us today. We're here to help you. Because when it comes to getting fast, easy-to-use, affordable dental insurance, it pays to know the facts. Call now or go on.
Megan, dear girl, please be patient.
We'll get you covered.
Mr. Poirot, how dare you address me by my first name?
Please excuse me, mademoiselle. All I ask is that you search your memories. The murderer must have left some trace.
Yes, he must have prepared his crimes very carefully.
Tout à fait. He did not get to Bexhill at midnight in order to strangle a young girl whose name by chance starts with B.
Must we go into that?
As President Biden continues his trip in Italy, day 2 of the G7 on the agenda, working sessions, a bilateral meeting with the Italian Prime Minister, and a meeting with the Pope.
I agree that
Then leave Italy and head to Los Angeles. And tomorrow is Donald Trump's birthday. The former president will turn 78
No,
years
of
old.
course.
He will
Not if
spend
it makes
the
you
weekend
uncomfortable.
campaigning in Detroit.
Come on, Mr. Poirot. I imagine we all feel terribly uncomfortable about these murders.
It's true. We've to catch the killer, not be spared the gory details.
Mr. Fraser, please get a grip on yourself.
Well, I want to help you, but I don't remember anything else. Nothing I haven't already said.
And you, Mademoiselle Barnard, did your sister say she was seeing another man?
Stay tuned to
She
learn
never
more
would have
about
told
this
me.
limited time offer from Renewal by Anderson. We all have that list of home improvement projects we need to do, and if replacing your home's windows and doors is on that list, you want to know that it's going
Why would
to
she hide the fact from you?
Renewal by Anderson.
Betty knew I didn't approve of her behavior. Her flirting was spoiling any chance she might have had.
Tell me, mademoiselle, what did you talk about with your sister?
Silly things. Her new dress. She wanted a pair of black stockings to go with it. Mother bought her a brand new pair. The day it happened, she was crying. And to think that Betty never even wore them. Poor Mummy.
Your sister used to sing, I believe. Did she ever perform in public?
She dreamt about it, but she had a very bad cough. It troubled her greatly. She had to cancel auditions and miss lots of opportunities. A pity.
Yes, she sang well, but that doesn't tell us much about the murderer.
Qui sait? In any case, we now have enough information to draw up a relatively precise psychological profile.
It's really impressive that
Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Because then you're dealing with one company, and you're dealing with one company that has a long-standing...
Mr. Taylor Clemens. Letter signed ABC, NOC, doing my dad.
Or June 30th,
Taylor
was
packaged
entry
people.
door.
Killed
Get
was
the next one for 40% off.
It's rather bold.
40% off with a minimum purchase of
Taylor is methodical.
Save an extra
Described.
$100 on your entire purchase with no monthly
He never
payments.
forgets to leave his intriguing signature behind.
June 30 for a free appointment
Without
with
the agency, we might have suspected Mr. Archer and Mr. Fraser. But by citing his crimes, the murderer is making making sure that he is accused. In a way, it is very difficult. The man speaks Betty before taking her speech. She strangled her. A passenger car. Maybe the murderer is trained.
EcoTank comes with up to 2 years of maintenance. Switch to EcoTank and save up to $80. Visit EcoTank today to switch and save.
Kill it clever.
Supreme Court releases its ruling on access to the widely used abortion drug mifepristone and allowing it to stay on the market. Plus, world leaders meeting in Italy for the annual G7 summit as President Biden garners support for Ukraine. And parts of southern Florida under a state of emergency after days of heavy rainfall caused flash flooding. All that much more starts now.
It's the killer sure of himself.
Florida Margarito headlines up. You're watching The Debrief. First tonight, strong reaction to the Supreme Court's decision to throw out its biggest abortion-related case since overturning Roe v. Wade 2 years ago. It's a case brought by a group of doctors who oppose abortion and challenge the use of the commonly used pill mifepristone. The court said the plaintiffs had no legal standing because they could not show they were directly impacted. And the mifepristone remains intact for now. Abortion rights supporters rather say they are still fighting an uphill battle.
Is the killer impulsive?
Because the reality of things are still not going to change. We are looking at the fact that 2/3 of women of reproductive age in America live in a state with a Trump abortion ban. We must remain clear-eyed about the threats to reproductive freedom in America, and we must remain vigilant.
Killer is impulsive.
Today's decision leaves open the possibility of someone else bringing a similar case, although that would likely take years.
Is the killer
Attorney General
generous?
in Republican-led Idaho, Missouri, and Kansas are leading similar challenges, which could end up before the court. Another so-called showboat in the Senate failed to pass. Democrats who narrowly control the check machine are trying to get Republicans to go on record on in vitro fertilization. But GOP lawmakers blocked a motion
So, ladies and gentlemen, we can now surmise without too much risk of error that our adversary is calculative, sure of himself, a seducer, of outstanding intelligence, that he has plenty of self-control, and that he likes railways. It's a good start. Other meetings may be necessary. I hope that you will be able to come back again.
Well, it's just that the ongoing wars, artificial intelligence, and threats posed by North Korea, Russia, and China. But the need to support Ukraine was front and center today. President Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a bilateral security agreement meant to beef up their efforts against Russian aggression. Global Affairs
Is something bothering you, Mary?
Well, Mr. Poirot, you see, I don't know if I can come to London just like that.
It's normal that people helping with this inquiry should be reimbursed. Starting with you, Miss Drower. Please allow me to pay for your train tickets.
Oh, sir, I cannot accept.
But you must. Mademoiselle, I may not be rich, but my brother left a fortune which will be mine.
Mr. Clark, that's very generous of you.
Well, someone has to foot the bill. Mr. Poirot, would it be possible for you to come back to Devon? Lady Clark has expressed a wish to see you. We'll adjust her medicine so she'll not be too drowsy.
But of course, I shall come the day after tomorrow if it is convenient. Thank you all for coming. We will meet again soon.
Now, the agreement does not involve any U.S. troops on the ground.
The meeting was most fruitful.
Really?
Hastings, I believe now we have everything we need to find a common point between the victims. Now it is time for us to use our grey matter. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Our goal is to turn the Ukraine's credible defense and deterrence capabilities.
What do the victims have in common?
A lasting peace
They are listening
must
in
be
the
underwritten by Ukraine's own ability to defend itself now
Betty, the senior men, as well as Donald.
anytime in the future.
The body was still warm.
The G7 meeting
They
wraps
had
up
a
this
photo of
weekend
her
and
and
ends
Donald.
just as another major diplomatic meeting, the Ukraine Peace Summit, is set to take place this Switzerland. President Kamala Harris is expected to attend that meeting on behalf of the U.S., along with representatives from many other countries around the world.
Donald was a violent man.
Global Affairs correspondent Maya Rodriguez
They
in
had
Washington,
problems with her
D.C. for us.
voice.
Thank you very much. And Pope Francis attending the G7 summit too, at the invitation of the Italian Prime Minister, and discussion is going to is very timely here.
He's a doctor.
Correspondent Liz Landers with our Disinformation Desk joins us now live with more. Liz, what session is he going to attend?
Betty, there you go.
Are there perhaps few global figures who know the impact of AI better than Pope Francis?
The first two victims suffered from bad throat, and that was precisely the specialty of the third victim, Dr. Clark.
We have a lead.
It would pay to take a closer look at the medical records of Dr. Clark's patients.
We'll do so during our next visit to Justin.
I will do it myself, mon ami. You must remain in London just in case ABC sends us another letter.
Very well, as you wish.
Were relatively innocuous. There is real danger in AI for global leaders and diplomacy. Helen Zhang, a former Australian diplomat who now works in the office of former Google
Thank you for coming, Mr. Poirot. Lady Clark is waiting for you in her bedroom on the first floor. Please excuse me, I cannot stay for the interview. I have to take Miss Gray to the station to see our lawyer in Torquay.
Benefits, but also protecting society from its downsides, like disinformation and misinformation, particularly in this world.
Will you be staying at Faulty Towers and meeting Battle?
In the election booths. I think this book has been very forward-leaning in a lot of these progressive issues, including AI. So I'm confident that having him weigh in on AI means that the rest of the world is also thinking about this beyond a sort of abstract issues. A report from deepfake detection company says
Are you going on holiday, mademoiselle?
Not exactly, Mr.
Poirot.
Miss Gray very kindly stayed with me to settle my brother's affairs, but naturally she prefers to find a position in London.
Très bien.
I'll be absent all morning, Mr. Poirot, but the nurse is coming soon. She's to ensure that the dose of medicine doesn't make our patient drowsy.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Have a nice trip, mademoiselle.
Heavily rely upon their constituents, but maybe their constituents don't have as much to do with literacy as others. So I think deepfakes in particular is something that is very, I guess, wicked, as they say in sort of the technical space, to address, because you want to balance freedom of information and freedom of the idea of kind of regulating disinformation like deepfakes. So it's still very much a work in progress.
Clark in her bedroom.
Now, the Vatican said that Pope Francis will deliver that
Okay.
speech on artificial intelligence.
I was wondering what we were going to do with that speech.
He will also have bilateral meetings with global leaders, including with President Biden. Lauren.
Liz Landers for us. Thank you
Let
very
us quit the game.
Yeah. We're going to turn over to, I believe,
And
on the debrief tonight. The Civil Liberties Union is suing the Biden administration for new executive action which prevents migrants who cross the southern border illegally from seeking asylum. And the lawsuit accuses the administration of violating U.S. immigration law and the Administrative Procedural Act, which lays out the steps agencies must take to implement certain policies. It challenges the rules restricting asylum, citing a U.S. law which states migrants can apply for it no matter where they enter the country. Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich will stand trial on espionage charges. He's been in jail since last year when he was detained while on a reporting trip outside Moscow. Authorities accused him of gathering secret information about a facility that produced and repaired military equipment. They've yet to release evidence implicating him.
And we'll come back some other time. My title should be arriving tomorrow, so I gotta go register, get the license and all that crap.
The charges against him are false, and the Russian government knows that
Maybe I'll either do something
immediately.
Friday?
After the announcement, the Wall Street Journal responded by calling the case
leave it off to the weekend because I got too much other stuff I gotta do anyway.
Oklahoma Supreme Court has decided
until next time.
Tulsa race massacre will not receive reparations. A lawsuit filed in 2018 last survivors wanted reparations for the motivated destruction of Tulsa's Greenwood neighborhood, which at the time was known as